A temporary setback in the legislature today for a bill that would end the COVID-19 public health emergency, but allowing Governor Murphy to keep 15 executive orders in place. The bill pulled amid backlash just 1 hour before it was scheduled to be voted on. News 12 New Jersey's Alex Sedan with that story.
In a surprise move in Trenton Thursday afternoon, Democratic Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin postponed a vote on a bill that would allow Governor Murphy to keep some of his emergency powers in place until January 2022, while allowing the state's public health emergency and dozens of other executive orders to expire. Speaker Coughlin said in a statement the bill needs to be refined, adding, "I am committed to ending the public health emergency. This is extremely important legislation that we must get right."
There's 3 branches, and the state of emergency continuously is going on. We're in our 15th month, and he'd like to keep this thing going on forever without any input from the public.
Republicans had been vigorously opposed to the bill since it was unveiled on Tuesday. They say it will give the governor too much power and that lawmakers should be consulted as the pandemic response winds down.
These are not decisions that need to be made in 1 hour.
Seems like a cumbersome process where you need a nimble process to respond to changing events. At the same time, you don't want a king.
John Weingart is the director of the Rutgers Eagleton Center on the American Governor. He says New Jersey's governorship is already the most powerful in the country, but that power was needed during the pandemic.
I think it's as good an example as you can find of why the governor needs emergency powers, and whether or not he should have lifted a mandate on one day as opposed to a month later or a month earlier is debatable, but the fact that it's one centralized person who stands over a large talented bureaucracy of the health department to begin with and other agencies, to me makes sense.
Yes, he has a power, but do we want, if we're going to do that, then you might as well send all the legislators home.
The governor's office has argued the legislation is for powers the governor needs to keep, like regulating face masks and keeping the eviction moratorium in place, as well as keeping the state's vaccination program up and running.
It does seem like a kind of issue where the two parties ought to have the same position, or largely the same position.
To call it anything other than a dictator, I don't know what else you'd call it.
Alex Sedan, News 12, New Jersey.
Alex, thank you. No date has been set for the Assembly to consider a new version of the bill. The state Senate had been set to vote on it on June 3rd.